Well, okay, we're at the end of the day again. And at the 11th hour, I'm going to try to summarize what I was able to do. I finished my orders that I had from yesterday, and I've got them boxed, and tomorrow we're going to ship them. Okay, that's the big thing. I went back to this fellow, and I had everything ironed out as best as I could, given the layout that I had and all that. And I was able to get the puff and chuff, the idle, the smoke, all that working on the limit switch, off of the limit switch, which I thought was a good thing. And I went through a checklist of things that I had to fuss about. The one thing I wanted to list were what were the smoke variables, what caused the smoke to either come, go, or not be as good. And one of them was the idle speed. When we're at idle, sometimes it was too fast, sometimes it was too slow, sometimes it was so slow it wasn't even running. The second thing that wasn't working so well was the relay trigger. We have to be able to trigger when the motor is on, switch over to go and brake from idle, and that was not reliable. I had to end up jumpering it. It was reliable. I had a very bright LED and I can't find it. So I got to figure out a better way of doing what I want to do there. Also, the puff voltage, the power to the fan motor on go, puff go. At first it was way overdriven, and then later I tuned it and it was underdriven. So I had very low smoke at low speed and had okay smoke at higher speed. So I've got to come up with a fix for that. The brake pulse length. I think the brake pulse length is too long. I'm going to have to shorten it. The brake is going to have to be, and that's it. And it's on a cam. It's got a big lobe. It's like 10%, and it should be more like 3, I think. General wiring reliability issues, and this is why I'm doing what I'm doing now. And I'll get back to what I'm doing now in a few moments. A big cap. I'm thinking about a big capacitor because the fan speed at low voltage would not kick in. I'd have to raise it up, and it seemed to have weak speed. And I've got to find a way to get speed at low voltage, low RPM, because it needs it. Okay, now if we see no smoke, the thing you do first is test the volts to the heater. Is the heater getting to the right voltage? And then the second thing is test the fan pulsing. Is it pulsing, or is it too pulsing or not, or is it just dead? Then I had a condition of low smoke. And low smoke, I want to check the smoke power buck boost board. Make sure the smoke is getting its 8-9 volts that it needs. Second is the smart smoke setting. Within that smart smoke board, there is a heat volt trim pot. And sometimes if that's down too low, you're not going to get enough heat out of the system, and you want to be sure that that's working properly. Low smoke can also be you're running low on oil. You put more wick oil in. Oh, I saw wicks, I said it. Okay, so the fourth one is the wick is off the heater, or there's something misaligned with the wick and the heater. Make sure that is the necktie knot is working, and if it's not, we'll come up with a better solution. Then I went through the baseline setups, things that I know I need, like the Smart Smoke buck boost board needs to be 8-9 volts. The puff board, buck boost board needs to be 3 to 4, and I'm going to verify that as I go along. It might need to be more. Idle fan needs to be 2.25 to 2.5. That speed is right, but it needs to start. I got to make sure it's going to start. Then I have to make sure the trim pot on Smart Smoke is not set too high or too low. You start out at 50% is a good range to start with. Then I did some measurements here. I got the fan motor at idle is 2.5, and on go it was 3 plus. And I'm just saying those are where I think I need to be. Then I did a test on the transformer to make sure I was getting AC coming in at what level. At 20 miles an hour I get 4.2 volts. At 30 miles an hour I get 7 volts, so it doesn't take very much to get up into the 4 to 7 volts, and that should be enough to make everything work right. At 100 miles an hour full speed on this transformer, I'm getting 15.5 volts. So that's that point. Now because of the wiring situation and using this board and whatnot, I needed to come up with a better solution. And my solution was to take everything, pick it up, and put it on a tender. And so I did. So here is the tender that we designed some months ago for the Royal Blue for Leon's engine, and I have an engine. I have a Corvette engine. I have several Royal Blue type streamlines that I need a tender for. So we've designed it, and it's ready to go. I put 6-wheel trucks on it. It's going to have 6-wheel pickup. I've mounted the exact parts here. This is the motor control board. This is the power distribution board. And I just got this adapter screwed down, and I do not have the buckboards put in yet, but this is what's going to complete this thing, is the buckboard, and that will be a full boat right there. From that point, then I think I can build another one. This is a different version. This was one for Leon's engine, but I think I can convert it. I'm going to build another one for the Royal Blue tender. We want to do a couple Royal Blue tenders, because the idea behind the Royal Blue tender is we want to build a water tank complementary to the Royal Blue design. So we're thinking, Leon is thinking of a Royal Blue tender that's not quite the full length, a little shorter, and it's going to be an extended range water tank for the Royal Blue. And the reason is I need more room to put in the remote button for sounds system. So I'm going to put the remote sound in here, so you have the little remote with 4 buttons, and you can play it from this water tank, and we can change the body, you know, from the one that matches this to some of the other ones. So this could be the extended range sound system, and could go on most any of the steam engines, and we change the tender to fit the design. Okay. So this is what I got done. I know this is an Atlantic, and I know these parts aren't working very well for me. The reed switches, the cam is working for me. This is also an Atlantic. So what I'm going to drum up and find is a Pacific that I can adapt this cam system to, and all I need is a smoke gear on a Pacific, and I should be able to walk over here and just look and see. Oh no, that's a Northern. Oh, there's one right there. There's a Pacific, nice and clean with the gear and vintage smoke, so I can take him off, take that motor off, put that on, and that has the vintage gear, so I won't have to do any drilling and machining in order to put that on there. I just put the gear on. Now I do have a plastic gear, so this one I could get the front axle. It needs work though. See, if you got one that needs work, well, take one that's ready to go. That's what I always say. And then of course I do have Leon's Pacific, so he could be the second engine. So I'm going to have his engine on one of these tenders, and my engine on one of these tenders, and then we both get a water tank with a sound system, and that's how I'm going to bring all these things together. And when I route the wires this time, they're not going to be hanging off the side. I'm going to dress them up, you might say. I'm going to cut them to length, solder them point to point, and make sure everything is tidy and secure. I already had a smoke power wire pull off in just moving things around. So I did have wiring, and plugging into this board is not the most reliable thing, so you really want to have solid connections for that. So the plan of the action is fully assemble this thing, get this back to operational status. I'm leaving the smoke off so I still need to fool with the fan, and I may have to fool with the fan blade, so I want to be able to do that. I might put it on a piece of wood or something that I can take off and on easily and get to it. Okay, so that's the status. And then, I don't know if I had some more notes. Oh, well, yeah, this is how I came up with what I need to do. This is all the stuff that's going on. And so this is when I decided, all right, forget it. I'm going to a tender, and that's it. All right, I got to go. My battery's low. My poor wife is up here wondering where am I. But I wanted to let you know I got a lot done. I did get smoke to go, puff and chuff to go using this guy, and it was fairly reliable. It had a lot of settings that I had to check and recheck. That's why I made this checklist on, what are the things you needed. And that's why I also need to have this more organized so the wiring will stay intact. So we're going to build 2 Royal Blues with an extended range, and I am going to try my best to get those done quickly so that we're up and running and you guys can see an engine going on the track. I know some of you guys really like to do that, and you don't want to see me sitting here playing around with stuff. But I might have to play around with stuff a little longer to get there, okay? Hang on. It's getting close. It's getting really close. All right. Later. It was a good day. I'm tired. Special dessert, I think. We'll see. No Baileys yet. Later.